Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel, and also the Substack newsletter Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe. Today is the first day in about 10 days to 2 weeks that I've been able to sit at my computer and to be able to communicate to you without being in extreme pain. For those of you that have had UTIs, well, I had a super UTI, and the extreme pain and the difficulty of getting that taken care of really kind of knocked me off my feet for the last 10 days. I had to go through 2 separate antibiotics to be able to get to the point to where I've been able to do what I'm going to be doing here today. In fact, it slowed me down over in the Knowing Whispers Substack newsletter too, because mentally and emotionally and stuff, the pain was just too great at times for me to be able to focus on that and to get anything from my guidance. This particular video that I'll be posting on YouTube and also over on my Substack newsletter has to do with why it is that Donald Trump has been able to accomplish what he is doing. And what I'm going to try to do here is to show you the factors, the astrological factors behind that. And then as I get to a chart comparison of the United States chart and also his natal chart, you'll see more of why it is you see what is happening. Okay, in other words, this video is about the volatility that he is creating politically and emotionally with most of us. All right, and of course, behind all of that is the karmic factors. All right, that as you know from watching my videos, I put a lot of weight on that, even though it's unpleasant, to be honest. It's something that over time I've come to accept and understand it's necessary if you want to become more accurate about whatever it is that you're trying to do astrologically. Now, something to keep in mind here, this is his Vedic chart, and I've talked about this in many videos about this Jupiter here. This Jupiter is stationary direct, which makes it extremely powerful in the house of wealth. Okay, it also aspects the 8th house, which is another house of wealth. And it explains pretty much why he's been capable of amassing fortunes, why he gets people to give him money and things like that. And yes, emotionally it makes no sense whatsoever, but my basis for astrological observations, I hope to keep it emotionally neutral, so that you just understand the karma here. And you can see over here in the Vimsatori Dasa system, that he's in his Jupiter Dasa, and he's been there since he ascended to the presidency. And it is a very strong Jupiter. And in Vedic astrology, when planets are very strong, the outer manifestation of the person's life represents that strength. And you could call that fame, wealth, power, whatever you want to call that. Okay? Saturn over here is in his 7th house, which is why we're seeing all of the stuff that we are seeing regarding the issues, legal, financial, relative to the election and stuff. When Saturn went into that 7th house, they ganged up on him, and they're still ganging up on him, and they will. One of the things that is keeping him from sinking is that Jupiter is in his 8th house, 9th house. This is the most fortunate house in the Vedic system, and you have a balancing act going on here. The one thing you don't see in this particular chart that the programmer hasn't put it in here, and I want to talk about this because this again shows the magnitude of what you see happening to Trump. In Vedic astrology, particularly in the southern portion of it, okay, there is a hypothetical point called Gulika. There's also one called Mandi, but Gulika is the one particular point that is believed to be stronger than Saturn in terms of the impact that it brings into the person's life in whatever house that it's in. It is believed that whatever house that Gulika falls in your chart, that the significators of that particular house are spoiled. And that's the word that most Vedic astrologers look at it. Ruined, spoiled, tremendous, unforeseen circumstances. In Trump's horoscope, Gulika is in his 12th house. This is the house of loss, confinement. All right. Currently, it is down here in the 5th house by transit. Okay. But the significance of this is this. Okay. It's hard to believe that anybody, could be going through the magnitude of the legal problems that Donald Trump is going through. All right. This position of Gulika, again, it's great loss. Okay. The potential for great confinement exists as a result of it. And if it wasn't for other factors that I've talked about many times about Donald Trump's Vedic chart and the placements, what they'll be during the election, I would certainly begin to weigh heavily more on the fact that he, could be incarcerated for a long time. But as I've mentioned about his Vedic chart and also his Western chart, there are other factors that enter into that, okay, that you have to take into consideration. Otherwise, you're likely to give a wrong assessment of what could be happening. It's also worthy to note here that in his 10th house, that Rahu here is conjunct the Sun. And of course, Rahu is insatiable worldly desire. It's in the house of politics, okay? And it represents politics, okay? Rahu is a political symbol for politics. And of course, the Sun as well, standing out, okay? Explaining why it is he was able to get elected. Okay. The other factors as to why he refuses to back off. Okay. Of course, this has to do with Donald Trump's deep, deep, deep wound. Okay. The deep, dark wound that he has. All right. So, enough of a foundation here to lay for you. The next thing I'm going to be talking about here, or mentioning anyhow, is his natal chart. This again is his natal chart. You can see Mars over here at 26 degrees of Leo. You see Saturn conjuncting Venus. Okay, born during a full moon. Very significant for people who have fame. Of course, we know all about his Neptune squaring Mercury, and it has no other aspects. Okay, the deceiver, the con man, the liar, all very well known. Jupiter trining the sun, Jupiter sextiling the moon, another indication of somebody that will very likely be successful in aspects of their life. Whenever you see somebody that's got Jupiter conjunct the sun, trine, sextile, okay, generally that person's particular area of life is going to succeed. Okay, I'm going to move beyond this now to get to the point that I want to make here. Again, this particular point here has to do with the amping up of what it is that you see happening to him. I mean, it's obvious that he's, I think, more on the side of gloom and doom, jail time is coming. But there's also those little situations that pop up mysteriously that seem to give a ray of hope to, him being able to make it through all these difficulties and accomplish what he wants to accomplish. The point in this particular chart, this is his progress chart. His progress ascended a couple years ago, went into Scorpio. Now his progress moon has gone into Scorpio. This again intensifies the emotional feelings of Donald Trump. Okay, very common for him to be unruly and to lash out and to be angry and vengeful. All of this is being intensified now as we move towards the election. And as I mentioned in one of my videos, when it comes to the election period, before the election period, actually beginning in June, July, and August, there is going to be an explosion of challenges, difficulties, problems for Trump. Okay, could be jail time, could be other factors. I mentioned that Uranus is going to conjunct his midheaven. It does square his Mars. I would say that the likelihood of things happening favorably for him would be better off if it wasn't going to square Mars, because that's an aspect of accidents for one thing. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. Okay, and we have to be prepared for what we may have to experience. All right, the very last image that I've got here is the one that I've been talking about for quite a while. And it has to do with the impact of Donald Trump upon America. Now, to give you a foundation for understanding this, when we look at astrological charts and we compare them to the past, the future, okay, to another person's horoscope, there's a tendency there to see them as separate, okay, when in actuality, as far as the universe is concerned, everything is existing in the now, okay, because it all represents consciousness, and consciousness is not divided, okay. Through astrology, we're able to break down the different energies of a person's consciousness and see how the person is taken through karmic issues to be able to grow if they choose to. But what is often not seen and forgotten is the fact that this consciousness of the creation of the United States of America, the birth of the United States of America, it didn't just end in 1776. It's been evolving ever since then for 250 years. Okay, along comes the consciousness of Donald Trump. All right, and we match that against the chart of the USA, the accepted chart of the USA, and there's some interesting things that show up in here. I think the most important thing for me has to do with his natal Saturn conjuncting our Mercury, our thinking, our communications, the effect, okay, of his Saturn, his issues, his karma, having an influence upon our minds, an emotional influence upon our minds, okay? This is the heavy weight that his presence at this time, and for the last several years, has been brought to bear on America and upon Americans. It's a dread, okay? It's a poisoning, a spoiling of our thinking, a spoiling of democracy in a way. But there's two other things here that are important as well. And because these are fixed points in time, but not in universal consciousness, we have a situation here where Donald Trump's moon is essentially, opposing our Mars. Now, for those of you who are astrologers, you know what the combination of moon opposing Mars is. All right. It is aggression. It's emotionally intensified aggression. All right. Not only does it happen once, but you'll notice up here that Donald Trump's Mars is also, within orb of the USA moon. So we have two oppositions here, moon and Mars. Anger, volatility, spite, poison, vehement turbulation, if you want to call it that. So what I'm saying here is that in terms of destiny and fate, what you see happening is what would happen if any person had a chart like Donald Trump's, and we compared it to the chart of the United States of America. There would be the volatility. There would be the sense of forebodingness, or the sense of being drawn into his mess, which is quite, expansive in its own sense. So this is what you need to understand, if you want to be able to truly understand what is going on, all right, that Donald Trump, by fate, by destiny, was meant to be placed in the position that he's in, that he's been kept in. There are astrological factors that pretty much bear that out. All right. And that we are in need of dealing with ourselves, because we can't continue to run, obviously, from this type of leadership, this type of behavior. It'll bring us to very, very unfortunate outcome if we're not careful. I hope that this explains a little bit about the mental and emotional strain and stress and turmoil that you're feeling and why it is that way. For those of you that are aware and awake, I want to strongly encourage you to come over and join us on Substack at the Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe Substack that I have established over there. In that particular Substack, I share those things which my guides give me to prepare us to inwardly deal with the intensification of stuff that is going on, on the outside. In the next video that I'm going to be doing over a number of years, I'm going to be taking a look at a number of years, in which the exact location and the exact time of that particular year as it began, it set into motion a chart which basically can reveal the energy of a particular year. And I'll show you over there the significance, of that, which I'm sure that you'll be able to relate to, because we've already gone through a certain part of that, of what we're seeing. Again, I'm glad to be back. Hopefully, with my medications and stuff, I won't have to rest anymore. But at my age, 72 years old, that's the way it is. And for those of you that are subscribers, members, again, thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. And for those of you that have been with me for such a long time, you know that I appreciate deeply your support here. And for those of you that have joined us over on the Knowing Whispers newsletter, Substack, our purpose, our desire is to try to encourage and support you and to give you some kind of clarity and understanding about what it is you're feeling and what it is that we may go through. All right. From the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, love of my life, again, I want to thank you for your support. For those of you that have made consistently donations and that continue to give donations, thank you so much. It is definitely appreciated by both CJ and I. And I'm going to get into this next video here pretty quick. Have a great weekend.